What's up, guys? It's your girl Haley Pro, aka the SoundChick here. Featured on today's interview, we have Jeb and Mindy from a band called Dying Oath. These guys literally dedicate their heart and soul and passion to the music scene and their band's listeners. During this interview, you get to learn more about the band's music, their upcoming projects, including their new album that they're finishing up soon, and how they blend their music with the horror lifestyle. So keep on listening. You're definitely going to want to check this band out.
I'm Jeb.
I'm Mindy. We're from Dying Oath, and you are now listening to the SoundChick.
So as a musician, this week was pretty hard given the fact that we lost some key musicians this past week. One of the more important ones was Eddie Van Halen. How are you guys taking in, these losses of great musicians?
It is it's always a terrible thing to lose someone, especially when you're a fan of them. My greatest condolences to the families and their loved ones
and their fans.
It's never an easy thing to lose someone.
Absolutely, I agree. I think these are people that have influenced bands like us greatly. So it's also a huge loss to the music community. Growing up on Eddie Van Halen, especially, that was one of the things that really got me into music. So it's a great loss to everybody in general, I think.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I was devastated, and I mean, there's so many musicians that we lost this week. It's crazy. It's 2020 is a shit show, So, it sucks for sure, but I mean, all we can really do is respect them through allowing them to live through their music. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Moving on to a more positive topic here. You guys are out there playing shows a lot right now. I know that you guys played at Coyote Ugly last night with a few familiar faces such as, Push the Attack and Noxus. What's it like getting out and playing gigs again, given this current crazy time we're in?
I think we're just being very cautious, for our fans especially. It's always going to be their choice if they want to come out or not. But the fact that they are, we want to be as cautious as possible and make sure all the safety restrictions are put into place and whatnot. But, we're trying to keep the music going because this is what keeps the venues alive. And so if we don't go out there and keep doing this, then we may not have venues to play at after this year. So we're just trying to keep the music alive as much as, we want to stay cautious and safe.
Right, and it's so devastating to see the fact that venues are already closing. I know a few local bands here in Georgia are already shut down, so I can only assume that it's somewhat the same for several states here. So it's always refreshing and hopeful to see bands getting out and play again because, it doesn't just help the bands, it also helps the venue and their staff as well. You mentioned being cautious. Have you noticed any differences between fans or even other bands taking precautions at shows?
Yes, absolutely. I do think that, there's always that underlying factor of, should we let fans interact with us physically? Are they going to set up social distancing? A lot of places are requiring masks, and I'm sure that's cutting down on the amount of people that are showing up to shows, which is completely understandable. So I do think it's a lot different, but in a lot of ways it's still the same. They still want to come out and hear great music, and they still love the music. So that's always going to be the main factor, I think, with shows.
Right. Especially with metal. It's such a welcoming crowd environment. I know personally being in the crowd, it's always been we're one giant family and we all kind of pack in like sardines and then we beat each other up in the pit. So I'm only going to assume that fans are still going to carry on that same cathartic experience. So, I mean, it's great either way, but it is completely terrifying at the same time because you genuinely don't know what's going to happen.
But, you're absolutely right. It's a family community. And that's why I think it works out really well with us being safe and being very precautious.
Yeah.
Just so we can enjoy a night together.
Still
just
looking
playing
out.
it safe. Yeah.
Yeah, looking out for one another and taking care of one another. So I think, honestly, in some ways, it brings people closer together in times like these.
Right. I can see that for sure. I mean, I'm sure everybody just wants to listen to great music, but at the same time, stay safe together. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, do you guys have any more gigs planned that you know of?
We have several, actually. There's an entire list. Next up, we have our Halloween weekend, where we are playing in Richmond, Virginia. And we're also playing on actual Halloween at the Halloween Fest in Gastonia, North Carolina. We have a show November 7th back at Coyote Ugly. We're also playing on the 12th, 14th, in Ohio. And then we'll be back here at home November 21st, I think, at the Pit with Phil.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you guys. You guys are getting out and being able to play that much. That'll be super rewarding for sure. Here's a fun one for you guys. Who is most likely to get injured while playing on stage?
Yeah, that's probably me. I get a little crazy sometimes, and a lot of times I do walk away with injuries and don't even know that I've done it until afterward. There was actually a show where me and Jeb both got injured by the same guitar player. Not going to name any name, Brian Endicott.
Oh, yeah.
But, we're out there and adrenaline is pumping, and, I'm headbanging and not paying attention to my surroundings a lot of times. But as long as I'm not injuring the crowd, we're okay. I'll take the injuries, but
we'll keep getting up.
Yeah.
Right. So I heard you mention that you're playing a few Halloween shows or Halloween themed shows here. So I'm going to segue into my favorite questions that I prepared for you guys, which is you guys are sponsors to the Helheim Haunted Attraction. That's super cool. What sparked the interest for you guys to merge your music and horror?
Well, for me, I have worked at haunted houses for somewhere around 15 years. And so that's always been a huge thing for me. But I think that working in a haunted house, we're always playing metal to get everybody pumped up. And so I think they merged together so well. And I've always had such a love for horror. And that's also our local hub, our only venue around here, actually. So it just made sense that we would merge our loves together and support one another so that we can keep the scene going for both the haunted houses and the metal community.
That's awesome. I love it. And I can definitely understand that, playing metal music to get the fans at a haunted attraction engaged is definitely key and spot on there. What would you say, being horror fanatics, is your favorite horror film?
That is such a hard question. I'm really into the older films. I think that that's when horror really began, is way back in the day when I was a kid. I'm really into all the original Freddy Kruegers, Friday the 13th, all of the Halloween movies, of course. I think that everything nowadays kind of stemmed from those movies. So
me personally, I love the classic horror movies, but I am a very updated visual type person. I love the new graphics that come with this day and age. And a lot of those I see with foreign horror films. I absolutely love foreign horror movies.
And they get a lot more graphic.
They really do.
Films too.
Yeah, they do, for sure. That's awesome, though, that you guys are like some of the classics. I've asked some other bands this question, and they usually give me some more modern horror films, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not really, scary to me anymore. If I want authentic scary, I'm gonna go for, the original It, or Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. So, I mean, horror now is so benign to me compared to the classics.
Well, because we grew up in a time where all of that began, and we didn't really know what the future was going to hold for horror, or how we were going to react to things. And now I think that we've kind of become desensitized because we did watch the great films back then, and so now everything's already been done, so it's not scary anymore.
Right. I agree with you. So let's talk about your music. You guys released Insomniac and Modern Testament this year. For those who haven't listened to either of these tracks, what can you say to fans to describe them, what they should get pumped up for when listening to your music?
I think what I love about those two being the ones that we release is that they're very different. I mean, they're metal, but they take different aspects of it. I mean, Insomniac is that gut crushing. You're ready to start swinging around the crowd and breaking shit and throwing it everywhere, start fires. You know, just the crazy style of metal. Whereas Modern Testament is more of the melody style of metal.
I agree. I think that Modern Testament was kind of an empowering song, you know, people breaking away from things that were holding them down. And I think that Insomniac was more of a way of us talking about fighting our own demons within ourselves. So I agree. I think that they're both very different in their own right. And that's why we wanted to release each single from our EP on its own instead of just releasing an EP and only releasing one or two songs, because each one of them tell a very different story. And so we want them to stand on their own.
Right. That's awesome. Speaking about, you know, your new project, it should be, I think, Mindy, you and I discussed it was going to be released early of next year, I believe is when you said it was going to be. How is that process coming along?
Well, that's what we were shooting for, but for people that don't know, we just got a new drummer. So the songs that haven't been released, we're re-recording the drums, so that's going to set us back just a little bit. But we are working on our next single that we're going to release, and then we have, 3 more after that?
3 total, yeah.
Yeah. So altogether, we're releasing 4 more songs. So it's going to set the compilation of the EP back just a tad, but I think that people will enjoy that process regardless, because there are so many new things that we've learned since doing the other 2 songs. So it's just going to make the music that much more fulfilling and whole, I think.
It'll be well worth the wait. From the 2 that you've heard already, what these next ones are going to bring is just new.
Yeah.
Each time you press next.
We've grown a lot and evolved greatly. And, you know, I think that's going to show on every new song that we put out.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of this project. I definitely agree with you. It's going to be worth the wait either way. That's awesome, though, that you guys are getting to re-record it with your new drummer and everything. So that'll definitely be awesome. When people think about your music or your band, what do you want them to remember you most for?
For me, I think it's that we are a family, not just amongst ourselves, but with our fans. We are very fan-driven. We do it all for you guys, and that's what I would like for people to remember most, because the music is going to speak for itself. But when it comes to us as human beings, I just want everybody to know that, you know, we love you as much as you love us, and we're putting this music out for you so that you can connect with it, so that you know that you're not alone in your struggles, because we write about real circumstances, real life issues, and we just want to help people and make people happy. And that's pretty much the bottom line of Dying Oath completely, I think.
Right. I mean, that's a very good thing to, want to be remembered for the most, especially since you are very in tune with your fan base and you want to be close and like a family with them. That's awesome. I love that. Here's another fun one for you guys. What is the craziest thing you guys have done for music?
Well, other than putting everything aside and sacrificing everything in our lives to put time and energy and all of our money into this, really, I don't think that there are any depths that we won't go to be honest. Keeping our safety in mind, I think that there's really nothing that we wouldn't do to get this music out to our fans and to get to the shows that we have. Dying Oath, the name speaks for itself. Our oath is our promise that we are going to keep doing this for as long as you guys will have us. So to me, that's crazy enough that we have given our lives and devoted ourselves to this.
It definitely takes a big dedication to not just fool around in a studio and goof off all the time, but to strive for something really big. We each want to change the world with this music. And personally, everyone will say it about themselves, but personally, I do believe we have the ability to do that. I mean, at the end of the day, if one person hears the song and they're moved by it, we win.
Yeah, we've done our jobs.
So, I mean, that's the goal. It's to change lives.
For sure. That's awesome. And I love that you connect that passion through, your band's name, Dying Oath. That's really amazing. It shows you know, your passion, you're motivated, your love, you know, everything is truly sacrificed for the band and the fans. That's awesome. I have one last question for you guys, and that is, having been a band, what is some advice you would pass down to upcoming artists?
For me, it would be to just not give up. There are so many obstacles in the world. Just keep pushing through it. Be your most authentic self, because that's what's really going to connect with people. To be genuine, to be humble, and to really give it everything that you have, because you only live once. You only have one shot at this. So you might as well just put the pedal to the metal from the day one, you know?
I like that. Other than that, I mean, like she said, stay true to yourself, because at the end, that's all that matters. The one thing that's big about it is that if you're in a group of people and you become a family with them, you're going to butt heads sometimes. And I know all 6 of us have butted heads on something.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's for the greater good.
And we're still family, no matter what.
We are. Like, nothing, you know, families have their disagreements, they have their arguments, and that's fine. But we all love each other, and that's magical to come back, compromise everything else that you need to do, and just continue, you know, enjoying their company. Like, these guys are amazing. Anyone who's ever had a conversation with them outside of a show or anything, that can tell you that they're just absolutely incredible to be around.
Hey guys, it's a SoundChick here again. I hope you enjoy the interview with Mindy and Jeb from Dying Oath. In the meantime, definitely make sure to go check out their 2 latest tracks, Insomniac and Modern Testament, and be on the lookout for future songs being released from the band. Thanks for tuning into this interview, and I look forward to having you guys on the next one. If you're interested in reading up more of my interviews or music reviews that I do, follow me on my social media on Twitter or Instagram at RealSoundChick. This is a great place to see all of my updates, so definitely check it out there. In the meantime, rock on, my dudes.